Most people use DxO PhotoLab or Affinity Photo, but when you combine them, you can create results that neither can achieve alone. This is something I've received a lot of questions about, so I'll be sure to answer those during the video. Let's start by opening an image for editing in DxO PhotoLab 9. If you're using an older version of PhotoLab, you'll still be able to follow most of this workflow. One of the great features of PhotoLab is that it allows you to browse the folders and images on your hard drive. There's no need to import them to a catalog file first. When PhotoLab finds a compatible image file, like this RAW file, it stores the details in its cache for fast access. The file I'm working on today is a RAW file captured using a Panasonic Lumix G9 Macro Four Thirds camera. If we look at the EXIF information panel, we can see that it was captured at ISO 1600, so we can expect it to be pretty noisy. And if I zoom into 200%, you can see some of the noise in the image. That's because I have PhotoLab configured to start with all the adjustments turned off by default. It allows me to see the RAW file exactly as it came out of the camera. Once I apply my adjustments, we'll see a huge quality improvement in the image. PhotoLab achieves a lot of its quality improvements when editing RAW files using something called DxO modules. In simple terms, DxO modules contain detailed profiles that help PhotoLab correct lens distortion, sharpness, and noise automatically. This uses measurements DxO has made in its labs. Once a module is installed in PhotoLab, it unlocks quality-related features for images captured using that lens and camera. If I open the DxO modules, you can see some of the supported camera brands, and under each of these are the supported lenses. When I click the option at the bottom, it limits this list to the modules I have installed. The modules themselves are installed automatically when you open a RAW file from a camera and lens combination. As I said, having these installed unlocks several quality-related features we can turn on. If I go to the Geometry tab, I can remove the lens distortion with a click. You can see how this changes the image if I turn it off and on. You'll also notice that this is based on the DxO modules. Although you can switch to the manual corrections, DxO modules are far superior. Now let's go to the Detail tab. This is where I'm going to turn on the Deep Prime XD noise reduction and demosaicing. That's going to produce a super clean detailed image from the RAW file, but you won't see the full results yet. The normal preview doesn't show this because it would require the RAW file to be processed first. Instead, we need to use the loop preview, which I have set to 200% magnification. This produces an accurate preview of parts of the image as it will appear when the RAW file is processed, and so far it's looking good. The next improvement I want to apply is the lens sharpness optimization, which is another feature that uses the DxO modules. When I turn that on, we see the detail in the image just snap into focus. There are other features I can use to extract even more detail from this image, but I really don't need to. Let's close the loop viewer now because I want to apply a couple more adjustments before I show you the workflow to pass the image to Affinity. The first of these is to improve the lighting on the lion. I'll do this in the Light tab by clicking the Smart Lighting option. This analyzes a scene and optimizes the lighting. It's added a bit too much lighting here though, making the scene look like daylight rather than dusk. If that happens to you, just reduce the intensity until the mood feels right. Now, something else that I'm keen to get right with this image is the colour. It's something a lot of people have problems with, especially when exporting images. What's important is to first select the correct colour rendering for the image. If I click the Colour tab, you can see the Colour Black and White rendering panel. This is where we can select the type of colour or black and white rendering to use. In the Type drop-down, we see different categories of rendering, as well as the ability to load colour profiles from a DCP file. After selecting the type, you can choose a rendering in the drop-down. The renderings you'll see in each category also depend on whether you have the DxO film pack installed, as this adds further options. I'm going to select one of the generic renderings, as everyone watching this will have access to those. If I move the mouse over the list, I can see the different effects that each is having on the image. I'll pick the DxO camera profile for this image, which is for the Panasonic G9, which is the camera I used to make the shot. If you don't select one of the profiles, PhotoLab may apply its default colour rendering during export, and the colours could be completely different to what you're seeing in PhotoLab. But that's not the entire story. Let's look at the export process to see where else colours can change. To export this image to Affinity Photo, we have a couple of options. First, we could click on the Image menu and choose the Export option. But when we have the film strip visible at the bottom of the screen, we can also see and use the Export buttons. The Export button we see here changes to reflect the previous export from the system. So, if your previous export was to say Lightroom, you'd see Lightroom on the button. To export to Affinity Photo, click the button to the right of this. We now see a list of options including Export to Application. When I select this, we see the Export to Application dialog. This is where we can select an application from the list we've used before, or click on the Browse button to pick a new one. If you're on Windows and can't find the Affinity Photo application here, don't worry, that's due to how Windows hides some of the executable files. I've linked to an article on my website from the YouTube video description explaining how to fix the problem. Now, let's compare two different export methods, TIFF and DNG, because the format you choose can dramatically affect the colours and tones in the image. We won't use the JPEG option though, because it's an 8-bit format and that won't withstand editing as well as a 16-bit format. Instead, we're going to use the TIFF option. Now we can set the quality to 16-bit. The other setting that I want to check here is in the ICC profile. This controls the colour space or the range of colours in the exported file. I'll pick the Adobe RGB profile for this, as that's going to give me a reasonable range of natural looking colours. I will mention as well the Preserve Colour Details option, which should be on. This will help match the colours I see in PhotoLab to the colours in the exported image. Having set this option, I can click Export. PhotoLab then exports the image, opening it in Affinity Photo's Photo Persona. If we compare the PhotoLab image with the Affinity Photo image, you'll see they look identical. This is because my adjustments and settings from PhotoLab are baked into the TIFF file. This is the best option to use to maintain colours and tones when you export images from PhotoLab, but there is another option that often gets talked about and used. If we go back to PhotoLab, we can repeat the export, but this time choosing a different format. This time when we use the export option, we'll set the format to DNG. There are a few DNG options here that we can choose from. Let's use the one that applies all the corrections we've made in PhotoLab. This time when we export the image to Affinity Photo, it doesn't open in the Photo Persona. Instead, we find ourselves in the Develop Persona, because Affinity Photo treats DNG files as if they're RAW files. But as we've already done all our RAW adjustments and editing in PhotoLab before exporting, there's no real benefit to using the DNG format. And there's something else that I want to highlight. To do that, let's click the Develop button to take the image into the Photo Persona. Now we can switch between the two exports. While the TIFF file I exported matched the image in PhotoLab, the DNG export is different. The TIFF file matched PhotoLab because all my settings were baked into it and fixed, but when we export the image as a DNG file, Affinity Photo treats it as a RAW file and applies a tone curve as part of the development process. This tone curve brightens the image and adjusts the contrast. That's one possible reason why the DNG version of your image might look different to what you saw in PhotoLab. So let's summarise all the information into a general workflow now. First, start with a raw file in DxO PhotoLab so you can optimize the image quality. Next, apply all the adjustments you need in PhotoLab to get the image colors, tones and contrast looking the way that you want. You're then ready to export the image to Affinity Photo using the Export to Application option. When exporting, use the TIFF 16-bit format to preserve the colors and tones as they were in PhotoLab. You're then ready to apply any finishing adjustments in Affinity Photo. Finally, when you've finished editing in Affinity Photo, save your image. But if you want the saved image to be visible in PhotoLab, save it using the TIFF format. When you send the image to Affinity Photo using the TIFF format, Affinity will allow you to save your edits in that format as well. Now, I've talked a lot in this video about colour. To learn more about the colour renderings in PhotoLab, watch this video next. Thanks for watching today and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe here as well as on my website and I'll see you soon in the next video.